Hello, both. Nice to see you.
Hello,
Hey,
Freda.
Freda.
Congratulations on the film. And of course, it's the first time that you've directed a film together. Now, James, you wrote the script. I believe it took quite a while for it all to come together. Does that mean that actually you had perhaps not a film in mind when you started out?
That's a, that's a very good question. Yeah, so I mean, this project's gone through quite a evolution. So initially, I had written it as a film, and then actually it was a TV series for 2 years at Channel 4. And then this tiny little thing called the pandemic happened. You might have heard of it. And then that basically,
Yes.
yeah, everyone was furloughed and it slowed everything down. And I turned it back into a film. And I think it was always destined to be cinema and focusing on that romance. But there is a world, yeah, where you expand it out and you talk about all the different worlds. But yeah, it's a great question, that.
So, Sally, at what point did you become involved in the project? And I'm wondering how much your involvement and your experience as a director was the reason that it eventually came back to being a film.
Another good question. So during the pandemic, I had been working on a film called The Swimmers, and the whole project was put on ice and fell apart, actually. And we didn't know if that film would even resurrect. So that was when I began talking to James. We talked before about maybe co-directing, but I heard it was going back into a film, or he was toying with it, and I was like, yes, it always should have been a film. That was what I had felt. And I said, and not only that, we'll co-direct it together, and this will be our lockdown film. So that was when Philip Heard, our producer, was game, and we began conceiving it, reconceiving it as a film, and us discussing co-directing it as a lockdown film. And then, of course, Netflix picked up Swimmers and came on board because it had been with different people previous, and I was required to drop everything and obviously continue with Swimmers. So we made a little pact that as soon as Swimmers finished, I'd go straight on to Unicorns, and Philip and James kept the plate spinning, and that's what we did. I finished the Swimmers on the Friday, and we began pre-production. Well, I began following Monday.
You joined us on the Monday, yeah.
We were actually shooting
So
it.
you decided,
We were actually shooting it when we went to Toronto with Swimmers, and we had a little hiatus, didn't we?
It's crazy.
so you decided to co-direct together, and once you'd actually started, did you actually find that there were a few surprises along the way? I mean, had you got a sort of personal shorthand, for example, or did you develop one?
Yeah, so we've always had one. I mean, we've done 2 films together. Previously, I was an actor in both of Sally's films. We're together in real life. We have a kid. So I think kind of we're an example of life and work really melding. We were very worried, actually, before the shoot, because we thought, okay, if we're going to co-direct together, A, our relationship's over, but B, the movie might be awful and the experience could be terrible too.
Yeah, how's it going to work?
How's it
we
gonna
overthought
work?
everything. Should we split
You're
roles?
so optimistic,
So
James.
exactly.
I mean, come on.
He's the cynical one. I'm the optimistic
I'm the
one.
realist, yeah. But we were very lucky. For whatever reason, it was the opposite. It was actually a dream.
When it actually came to it, we'd done all this overthinking of how we should do it. And then, you never have enough time, and suddenly you're in the flow of making the film. We both realized that we both wanted to be doing everything together all the time, which is what we did. And that was the organic way that developed. We let it develop in a very loose way. So on set, we had decided that I would call cut, just so that there was that one voice. But there were some actors who gravitated towards James. There were others who gravitated towards me. The same with the crew. Yeah. On an independent film, of this nature, you never have enough time. So having 2 of us and having that shorthand, we could confer within like 5 or 6 seconds and be like, you talk to that person about that, I'll talk to this person, and do double the amount of work in half the time. So, yeah, personally, I really enjoyed it. Having directed on my own, it's lonely and there's a lot of pressure. Having that sounding board and someone with you, even just to have a laugh about the situations that you find yourself in, it was lovely. I'd do it again.
Absolutely.
Were there any films that you would say influenced unicorns in one way or another? The reason for asking the question is while I was watching the film, this whole idea of the driver and his client who wasn't quite what they appeared to be put me immediately in mind of Mona Lisa.
Okay.
Good reference.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of films, haven't there, that have had that kind of dynamic of the driver and their passenger, you know, obviously driving Miss Daisy and all these sort of things. And I think, you know, there are a few films that we spoke about and a few filmmakers, I think in particular. A couple of things that were always in my mind really early on when I was writing the script and also when we were shooting and when we were in the edit was, you know, a lot of the Technicolor films from back in the day. If you look at something like The Sound of Music, which we both love, you know, it's a very serious subject matter, but it all of a sudden will go from, you know, these really colourful, quite literally, you know, singing numbers on hills, into what seems to be almost like a family kind of drama, you know, and that's something that we spoke about a lot in terms of tonal shift, because the Gaysian world that's in the film is extremely colourful and has a kind of modern Technicolor influence to it. And the other thing as well that Sally and I, we're
Yeah, I was going to say authenticity.
yeah, exactly. We're big fans of, you know, things that are extremely real to the point where they kind of rub against the bone. And, you know, we love a lot of Jacques Audiard's films as well. And I think you look at something like Un Prophète, where what he did so brilliantly in a lot of his
Or
films.
Rust and
actually,
Bone.
Or Rust and Bone.
For a love story.
Yeah.
You know.
What he does very amazing is that he combines such incredibly detailed naturalism with a sort of cinematic poetry.
Yeah.
And tonally he makes all those shifts work. So
Yeah, that was, you know, what we really looked at.
Yeah.
Because we wanted the film, on the one hand, it's a very authentic and real world. We love authenticity. It's our taste. And, it, you know, it's something that I work very hard for, even in my past films, you know. I hate a fake film. So that, for us, was so important. We're inspired from the real people that this film is based on, actually.
Absolutely.
And the real lives and the real situations. And that, in a way, is more inspirational than other films. But we also wanted the audience to have the sensation of what it's like to fall in love, where time becomes elastic. And it, we played with slow-mo and, you know, that kind of magical feeling of falling in love, where suddenly, you know, 10 minutes has been 5 hours, and, you know.
And the magic is most definitely there. Guys, thank you so very much for your time. Really enjoyed the film, so congratulations again.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Freda.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey You Guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey You Guys!